Hello, my name is Jeremy. I'm the founder of Social Connector and really excited for today. As you're coming in, let me know you're here. Can't wait to talk to you. Social Connector, we're all about helping people do more with less time, less stress, and with less money. I see a bunch of you guys jumping in the room right now. That's really exciting. And so what we're going to do today is we're actually going to do a live build. So we have recently finished up an entire series on everyone's sales process because we all follow a very similar general sales process where we attract, we capture, we nurture, and then we convert, right? And so we are going to go through the capturing stage. And so people are always asking, like, what are different ways we can capture? How do we capture more leads? How do we reach more people? And so we're going to be showing you one way you can do that today. And that, my friends, is through simple SMS keywords. And we're going to actually do a live build today in less than an hour. This is my goal. In less than an hour, we'll do an entire live build and we'll do it for one of our actual clients. We're going to build this for a client. Now, I want you to know in advance at Social Connector, we are not a part of anything but Social Connector. So you might see some things about the brand or about the product. This is not a promotion. This is simply us building out for one of our clients. And so what we're going to build today from top to bottom, we're going to build a keyword capture where someone is able to go through social media or anywhere, click a link, it'll open up their text messages. It will send the keyword automatically for them, which is so awesome. And then the person is going to get a quick quiz that they can fill out to determine which product is best for them. And we're going to do every step of the process. We're going to start with creating the form that we're going to need that we want to send out. Then we're going to create the automation so that when people do add that keyword and text in that keyword, that they get the automation response as well as a recommendation for which product. And then we're going to show you, if you stay on long till the end, we're going to show you a really cool trick that you can use to automatically populate keywords in someone's text message. So when we say keyword, just before we jump in, since we say keyword, what I want to remind you is a keyword is simply a specific word or phrase that you want someone to text your business phone number so that it will trigger an automation or a workflow in the system. And we're going to show you a free and easy way to automatically populate that because sometimes people put the wrong keywords in. And so this will be a really cool link that anyone can click and it'll open up their text messages on their phone. And it'll automatically put that keyword in and send it directly to your phone number. So this is going to be a lot of fun, pumped about it. And so with all that said, let us jump right in. I'm putting my phone on Do Not Disturb because we have got to get this going. So let's jump right in and let's get started. So let me share my screen with you here and hopefully you should be able to see that pretty well. And we're here inside of the account. Like I said, I'm doing my best to blur out my client's information. And we're going to start with custom fields. So here's what we're building. We are building, this is a health product and they work in peptides. And so we are building out a quasi quiz. It's not an official quiz, but it's a survey or quiz that gives us information from the person to determine which peptides would be the best for them. And again, I'll continue to say this. I don't rep any brands. This is just us building. So this is not me promoting a brand. All right. Or any products. All right. So what we've done is we've got what inside of settings, custom fields. We're going to pre-build our fields. What I would tell you is if you're going to make a form of any kind, it's really important to know what questions or what information you're gathering in advance. So I've already got a notes document open for each of the fields and the information that my client needs to gather. All right. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at my form fields. So I went into settings and I went to custom fields. Now, custom fields all show up on your client's contact information, and they're also used inside of our automation. So you already know a lot of custom fields like first name, last name, email, but you can create as many types of custom fields as you want, and you can even categorize that. So you'll see we've created a category through a folder called peptide peptide quiz, and we are going to now begin to fill that out. So let me go ahead and create my first field. So the first field that we're going to need is because first name, last name, email address, phone number, those are already in there, but we're going to ask what this person's 2025 primary goals are, their primary goals. So I'm going to click radio select as the type of field. This is going to be that circle where when you click it, it just selects the circle, the radio button. So we're going to click radio select, click next. I'm going to name the field and we're going to call this 2025 goals. Okay. And you'll see it's peptide quiz. And so that's the group that it's going to go into. That's the folder it's going to go into. Now you could do this inside of your forms, but I like to do things in advance. So I'm going to do it here. And I know I'm going kind of fast, but I do want to show you what is possible and how you do this. So we're going to ask the potential client, what are your main goals? So we just call it 2025 goals and we're going to put it in here. So we're going to say build muscle / become more fit. We'll add another option here. We're going to do lose weight, quiet food noise, increase our BMR, which I believe is basal metabolic rate. We're going to add another option and we're going to do lose weight and gain fitness. And do another option here and reduce fatigue. Okay, we scroll down a little bit. We'll just keep adding our options here. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to go lower cortisol, reduce anxiety. Okay. And then add another. And I use Whisper. It's a great way to do things without having to type. Focus on my mental clarity and brain health. Okay. And our final field is going to be, our final field option is going to be hydrate my body better. Okay. So these are our main options that we're going to let people choose from. And our field is our 2025 goals. These are our primary 2025 goals. So they're only going to be allowed to select one. And the reason that we're only going to let them select one is we want to make sure we're going to use this information to make a recommendation to them. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And I am going to look at all your questions. I promise I'll answer them as we go. For this form, I can't give this out because I'm building it for a client, but you can follow along and you can build your own. So, okay. Next is we're going to talk about activity level. So you'll see now we have a field that is our 2025 goals. And this is what we call our unique key. And I'll talk to you about that in a little bit. So we're going to click add field. We're going to just keep going through this process. Now, this one's going to ask, how many days a week on average do you work out? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a number value. I'm going to use a number value here. And we're going to call it workout, or let's call it activity level. Okay. And we'll change this in a second. This is the name that we see internally, but when we go into our form, we can actually change the name that our contacts see. And so we're going to keep this and our placeholder. Now placeholder is what they're going to see inside. So we're going to say enter days of week. Actually, I'll show you how to do that in a second one. Like I said, my goal is 1 hour. So I'm just going to say activity level. That's how many days a week do they work out. And then our next one is our sleep status. Do you struggle to fall asleep? So we're going to ask them if they struggle to fall asleep. It's a yes or no. So we're just going to make another radio select. And we're going to say, this is going to be sleep status. And we know the question is going to be, do they struggle to fall asleep? So I'm going to say, yes, I struggle to fall asleep. And then our next one's going to be no, I sleep fine most of the time. Click save. Then our next one is going to be our energy levels. So we're going to create a new field here, We're going to do energy levels. And the question that's actually going to be asked here is, do you tend to have an afternoon crash? So we're going to do energy levels. And the question is going to be, do you tend to have an afternoon crash? So I'm going to say, yes, I do crash in the afternoons. Okay. And then the next one's going to be, no, my energy is consistent throughout the day. Okay. Click save. Great. And then we're going to come down and we're going to do focus. Do you struggle to complete tasks or stay focused? So come in here, got another field. And again, this is going to be a radio check because it's kind of a yes or no. So we're going to say focus status. And we're going to say, yes, I struggle to stay focused most of the time. And on this one, we're going to add another and say, no, I am focused and achieve tasks as needed. Okay. And then I'll save this. And then we're going to create, let's see, we've got our, water intake. So we're going to create our next field, which is water intake. And you're going to see that although we're doing a lot of work up front, you're going to see that by doing the work here in our settings under custom fields, you're going to see that it makes our building of our form so much easier. So, and the answer is yes, these are always recorded. So I'm going to click, this is going to be again, a radio button because we want to know, we're going to ask them, do you drink at least half, on average, do you drink at least half of your body weight in water? So click next. And it's going to be water intake is our field name. This is again for us. And then we're going to say, yes, I drink up to half my body weight in water every day. Okay. And then, no, I struggle to get my water in each day. So now we've created these two options. It's a yes or a no, but we're making it a little bit more personal so that the contact understands what they're being asked. But at the end of the day, we're asking them their water intake. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so these are our fields. What are their 2025 goals? And we've created a radio select, and we're just asking them their various goals. Then we've created an activity level, and we're asking them how often do they work out each day. And we did that as a numeric field, so they're forced to type a number, and we're going to help them to know they have to type a number. Then we're going to ask them their sleep status, like, are they sleeping well? Do they struggle with sleep? Then we're going to ask them their energy level. Okay. Now, again, I'm building this for my client, but you can build something like this for you. You understand the problems that your potential clients face. And so you can ask them about them to help add value. This is so important. People want to be able to share their problems, right? And so this allows us to do that. And then we're also going to do an assessment for them and make a recommendation based on some of these things. So we've got our custom fields set. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to go, I'm going to click in, we're going to go into our forms. So we're going to sites, forms, etc. And we're going to click on forms. We're going to be in the builder, and I've already created a folder here that's called lead capture forms. So it's just starting from fresh. That's the only reason I'm doing that, is so you can see it's going to be fresh. Okay. And we're going to click add form. And now we're in the form building process. All right. So we're going to go step by step here. Step number 1 is we're going to name our form. Whenever we build a form, we're going to name it. So we're going to call this our peptide quiz. Okay. Now, all forms come with some pre-built in items. They can all 100% be changed. Okay, and we're going to change them. So they can all be changed. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start to change some of these here in a second. But I wanted you to understand. So we have peptide quiz, and I'm always going to save here, always going to save. And then now that's saved. And we're going to just start by adding our fields. Okay. So we already have name, first name, last name, phone number, email. Now I'm going to rearrange this. I'm going to do email at the top. And here's the thing I want you to know. In a second, we're going to be getting their phone number because they're going to be texting us. So we're going to do something that this field automatically populates for them when they click. So the system will know that, oh, this is their number, and it'll automatically put it in. So you don't have to retype it, because that would be frustrating. I just texted you, you sent me this form, and now you're asking me for my phone number and you're texting me the form. You should know my phone number, right? And so we're going to make it so this phone number automatically populates. Right? But these are our first fields. Now we do have the option, we can put full name here. You'll see right here, we can do full name. And maybe you want to do full name. I like to do first and last because I think people sometimes struggle to type right correctly, because I know I do. I mistype things all the time. If you mistype things, put it in the chat that you mistype things, because I mistype things all the time. And so I'm going to put first and last name. Now, this is going to get kind of long. Don't worry about that. We're going to actually make it look shorter, and that's going to be really cool. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come into custom fields. Remember, we just made a bunch of custom fields. We have all the questions we need. They're already built for us. And you'll see we even have a folder from that folder that we created called peptide quiz. So I'm going to select the peptide quiz, and we're just going to begin to drag and drop in order. Now, this consent button has to be here because we're asking for a phone number and the cell phone carriers require it. I don't really want it at the top, so I'm going to drag and drop things in front of it so it pushes it down. And you'll see how simple this is to add to our forms because I did the work in advance. I'm just going to come over. I'm going to drag this 2025 here, and you'll see there's all my 2025 goals. Then I'm going to come over. I'm going to add my activity level because that was my next question. Drag it there. Then I'm going to come over and I'm going to add sleep status. And look, we just go one at a time. Each of our items, scrolling down here, and we just did energy level. So now we got to do focus, and we got to do water intake. Boom, just like that. So now look, we actually have a form that's ready to be used right now. So it's so simple, so simple. It's already done. But this isn't really the way I want it to look. So I'm going to customize it a little bit. So I'm going to close this because I don't need that. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and change what the user or the contact sees, the person who's filling out this form, what they see. 2025 goals is kind of, I don't know. It doesn't have the best ring to it. So I'm going to actually add my own thing here, and I'm going to say, what are your 2025 goals? So I'm going to click on the field 2025 goals. And right here, it says label. I'm just going to replace that with pasting this in that's this thing I already was given by my client, the question. And I'm going to say, what is your main health and wellness goal for 2025? And I'm even going to put in parentheses here, excuse me. I'm even going to put in parentheses here. Pick one. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to make this a required field. They won't be able to submit unless they fill this out. So that's number one. Same thing with activity level. Now I know that this is going to show up as activity level on their contact sheet, but I'm going to add it here. I'm going to change this a little bit, and I'm going to ask this question. I'm going to ask, how many days a week do you work out? Okay. So I'm going to come in here to activity level on the label, and I'm going to replace it with my question. That's the question I'm asking them. Now we also have this placeholder right here. So what that will do is I'm going to say, please type a numeric, a number. Let's just say number, i.e. 1, 2, 3. All right. So now they know they have to put in a number here. I'm seeing someone ask the question, can you edit the options? Yes. So if I came in here on this one that has lots of options, I can select options here and I can change any of this that I want to. Just know that if you change it here, you are changing it for anyone who's ever filled this field out. So it's not just changing it on this form, it's changing the entire field. Okay. So yes, you could come in and you could change and rewrite this, make it look different. You could even add an option, but you're doing it anywhere this field is used. So if you use the same field in multiple forms, you don't want to change it unless you want it to change in all forms. All right. I save whenever I do a bulk of edits like this. So I just did this one. I'll save now because somebody reminded me. Then we're going to go down to sleep status. And our question is actually, do you struggle to fall asleep? So we're going to come in here and we're going to say, do you struggle to fall asleep? And then we're going to go to our energy level. And our question is, do you tend to have an afternoon crash? And then we're going to go to our focus and we're clicking on label again, just so you guys know. And our focus is, do you struggle to complete tasks or stay focused? Okay. And so we got that one. And then water intake. And our question is, do you drink at least half your body weight in water each day? Okay. So we've gone through and we've updated all the questions for people. So I'm going to save now. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and make these all required. So I'm just selecting them and choosing the required button. Good and good. There we go. So now we have this form. Now, again, it feels a little long to me. Wouldn't you agree? It kind of feels a little bit long. I got a question here that asked, I'm curious why you don't just put the question in from the beginning. The reason I don't put the question in for me in the beginning is those questions are your field names inside of the contacts information. And so that can get really bulky and long. So I like to keep my field names as short as possible because I'm going to look at those things later. And you'll see when we're building our automation here in a second, you'll see that when we have to search for those things, they're going to be really long. And so it helps me to keep them short. So that's why I like to do it that way. You can do it any way you want, but that's just the way that I do it. All right. So now we're going to do a couple more customizations here just to show you. And I will tell you, this will be ready to go, but my client will probably want some special items on it, like some pictures and things like that, or some background changes, which is totally fine. So first thing I'm going to do though is I feel like this is super long. Correct. Changing the label doesn't change the field after you've built it. As long as you've built it in custom fields when you built it, the field itself stays the same. We're just changing the label on the form. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to choose our styles and options. So one of the ways that we can make things feel a little less long is that we can do a 2-column layout. So I'm going to select 2-column layout. And what you're going to see is it's going to begin, it puts things together. And this makes a lot of sense. So we're going to put these things together here. So first name, last name next to each other, email, phone number next to each other. Now, with this one, like, I don't know, this gets a little confusing for me. I don't really like the way this looks. No problem. I'm going to select this item here, our what is your main health goals? And this one's kind of long. So if you look on the right, now that we've selected it and we're in column mode, you'll notice it says field width is 50%. If I change this field width to 100, it now becomes its own field question. So I really like that. The other thing is you'll see that it's pretty long. I can also click on options and I can spread this to columns. So I'm going to spread this to 2 columns and just see how it looks. So now we have these 2 separate columns from each other. And I kind of like that. And so I'm going to leave it like this, but if you didn't want to, you could come bring it back and just make it like this. It's completely up to you. So actually, as I look at it, I'm going to leave it like that too. So you can leave it just like that. Okay. But you could spread it to columns. We're going to keep coming down. We're going to see, I actually like anything where they have to type. I like it to be on its own. So I'm going to change this to 100%. Okay. And now I'm going to leave these just as they are. I like this look. It works for me. So I'm going to leave it. The final couple steps we need to take is we have to edit this consent form. Now, this is a requirement for everything. You always have to have a consent form if you're asking for a phone number. So we're going to just change this to I consent to receive alerts. Okay. From the person who sent me this form. And we'll change this after you guys are off because, and we're going to get rid of these things. We don't need them here. And I'm going to leave, you can reply stop to unsubscribe at any time. Okay. So I'm going to put that in. There is a new policy in place as of 2025, end of 2024, that if you're going to have people consent, you also need to have your privacy policy populated. So we automatically put that in for you. And what you can do is you can select this privacy policy and you can click the little 3 dots on the bottom right of your text block and click the link section. And you would type in your domain.com / whatever your privacy policy is. So people can do that. Side note, you need a privacy policy. That's not what this training is for, but you should have a privacy policy. You should have a terms of service page anytime you're doing these things. Okay. And we're going to leave this just as. Now we need to update our button. So this just says button. This is the submit button. So we need to update it. So I'm going to save. So we've done a lot of work here. And then I'm going to select the button and we're going to call it, let's say, submit and get results. All right. And then I personally don't like this background color. So I'm going to use my favorite black color, which is 333. Okay. And I'm going to change the font here. So I can scroll down. You'll see here's our font color, our font options. I'm going to change it to Poppins and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here. Okay, so that might be too big. Let's go with 18. There we go. And weight is just how thick this is. I'm going to change this to 500. There we go. And now we've got this button ready to go, submit and get results. Okay, and I'm going to save. We're not done yet though, because I do, and again, I'm going to reiterate, if you're coming in the middle, I do not represent any brands. I don't use this product. I don't sell this product. I'm just building this for one of my clients. So I'm going to add an image here that has, I'm going to add 2 things. We're going to add an image and we're going to add a text block to let them know what they're actually doing. Okay. So the first thing we'll do is we're going to add the text block. Okay. So right now we're on custom fields. To add something, we simply click the plus button and then we click over here, quick add. And you can see all the basic fields that automatically come with our system. But I'm going to scroll to the bottom and you're going to see text customized. So I'm going to drag this over. I'm going to drag it to the top. And here's our text field. And I have something that's already been written up for me. Okay. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it right in here. And you see it's really long and gross. That's okay. We're going to fix that. So I'm going to change the font here. I'm going to use my font that I like so much, Aleo. Okay, it changes the font. And then we're going to change the size. The size is 40. That's way too big. So we're going to go with 20. That might even be a little big too. So let's go with 18. And you just play with it as you go. I want this to be centered. So I'm going to choose all this and center it. Center it. Oh, that was that paragraph. Should have selected everything. So I'm going to come up here. There we go. And I'm going to center this. Okay. So now all we did was just add a text field, guys. Again, I just grabbed text, dragged it over and dropped it. This is not a field. This is not going to create something new in your system. It's just for this form that we're building. Okay. You can see there's lots of things we can add. We can add an HTML file. We can add a CAPTCHA that causes it to force a person to verify they're a human. There's a lot of things we can add here. Okay. So then, as a matter of fact, we're now going to add an image. Now, there's two ways to add an image. I can add an image anywhere I want inside of a form by dragging this image over. I could drop it right here and add an image. Okay. So, or I can add an image in my styles and my options. So if I come down here to my colors and backgrounds, you'll see we can add a background image. We can add a header image. Okay. If I add a header image, it's going to automatically be put right above my form. The choice is yours. The system, the process is pretty much the same. So I'm going to just add my image like this. I'm going to add my image. I'm going to drag it here to the top. You'll see it says choose file. No file is chosen. I'm just going to choose file. I'm going to go to my desktop here, go to my live SMS build, and there's image number 7. I'm going to add that. Okay. Now that's a little big, so I'm going to make it smaller. Okay. Just like that. I'm actually going to make it even a little smaller. Perfect. And then we're going to do a couple more customizations here because I just noticed there's some things I don't like about this form, such as I don't like how much room there is at the top. So I'm going to finish this with some simple customizations and a submission. I got to finish it with a submission. Like what happens when they submit it? So here's my form, right? And so I'm going to save it. And now I'm going to click on our styles and options. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to work on some of the background. So these are your basic like layout and things like this right here for styles. So I'm going to select here and we'll see we have the width of the action. So we have the input is box style, which I like. If I switch it to line, I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. You might be, I'm just not for this. So I'm going to leave it at box. The width is 650. That's how wide it is here. So I could make it a little longer if I wanted to. So let's make it like 800. There we go. Just so you know, your average phone is going to be 600 pixels. So that's why we stick in that realm. So I'm going to leave it at 650 because I like that. And then field spacing is 16. So the distance between fields. So I can make this a little smaller. There we go. And this is our padding. So this is our padding here. So I'll show you what I mean. If I remove this padding, reset it, you'll see that everything moved up because padding is the distance from the top to there. Now this actually has its own padding. So because this image does, and we can't change that. We'd have to edit the image, but this is much better. So now I've moved everything up and I like that. So this is really simple. We're good to go. So now, again, we need to determine our options. Okay. So let's think what we've done here in a matter of 30 minutes. We have created our custom fields. We have built out a fairly nice and easy to use form. And we've customized it to make it look decent. Now what we need to do is we need to tell the form, what do we want it to do when someone submits it? How are we going to have them submit this form? Like when they submit it, what do they see? Where do they go? What's next? So I'm going to, for this form, there's lots of options. For this form, I'm going to choose that here we go on options, we have an on submit section. So what happens when they submit? We have message, we have open URL, and don't worry about order confirmation. We're going to go with message or open URL. So open URL would mean that you could send them to maybe a thank you page, or you could send them to maybe a site if you wanted to. Like if you're an affiliate, you could send them directly to an affiliate site. Totally could do that. We're not going to do that in this form. We're actually going to put a message on here, and that message is going to be saying, it's going to say something like, thank you for taking the peptide quiz. We will get back to you with your results as soon as possible. Okay. And so we've got that, and I'm going to do this here. I'm going to go one more. I'm going to go, thank you. All right. Received like that. And I'm going to make this bold here, and I'm going to center it. Great. And then we're going to do a little message styling, really simple. I'm just going to change the style here again. I like Poppins and Aleo, so I'm going to change that there. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So we'll make it 22 like that. And there we go. So that's our submission. Now I'm going to close this on submit and I'm going to save. Excuse me. I'm going to save. If the phone is bigger than 600 pics, it won't go wider than what you set it at. It'll just stop where it's at. If it's smaller, it'll make sure it's smaller. It'll fit the screen. And then we have some form settings that we need to set. So this is important, sticky contact. That means if we already know their information, then it should be sticky for them. So they won't have to enter it more than once. Okay. So we're gonna turn that on. So if we already have their information, it should already work for them. And then we're gonna click save. Okay. So that way, if they're already in our system and they fill out this form at some point, it will fill in the information that it knows about them, which is great. Okay. So that's safe. Now we have our form ready to go. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave this open and I'm going to move into, now what do? We have a form. How do we actually send this out? How do we get people? What's the automation that sends it, receives it, and does the things, right? So we're actually going to have two automations here. The first one is our text reply automation, or what we call a keyword automation. Okay, that's our very first one. So we're going to come in, we're going to go into our automations, and we're going to click, and I put this in a folder called SMS Lead Magnet. I'm going to click Create Workflow. And I'm going to start from scratch. Okay. And we're going to call this SMS keyword. And then we'll go quiz. Okay. And I'm going to save. And here we go. So automations are made up of triggers and actions. A trigger causes the automation to start. The actions are what happen after it starts. Okay. This is going to be really, really simple. It's going to be really, really simple. So we have to create a trigger. Well, what's our trigger? They sent us a text message, right? That's our trigger. They sent us a text message. Inside of Social Connector, we call this trigger customer replied. Okay. So we have an event trigger that's called customer replied. Okay, you would find that without using it like that. You would find it by looking for your events, because this is an action. Scroll down and you see all these different events with form submitted coming soon. But right now we're going to do customer replied. So we're going to go through all of our different events, and there it is, customer replied. Click it. Okay. And I love to label all of my items in my workflow. So I'm going to call this SMS, which is a text message, and we're going to make the keyword peptide. Okay. This can be changed down the road, but we're going to name it peptide. So SMS with the keyword peptide. This is how I know the trigger. They're texting me the word peptide. Now I'm going to click add filters. Why? Because if I use customer replied right now and just save this, everything will work. If they text me anything at all, it's going to activate this workflow, because it's just, they replied. Anything they text me, if they email me, if they send me a message on Instagram, it'll just activate it. So we have to filter it down. Triggers are always start really, really wide, and then we filter them down to say exactly what we want. So the first filter we're going to add here is we're going to add the channel that they replied to. So what's the reply channel? Meaning, is it email? Is it text? What is it? And we're going to select that it is SMS, text message. You see, we have all these different options here that you could choose, but we're going to choose SMS, text message. So now we've narrowed it down. They didn't just reply through live chat. They didn't just reply through social media. They replied via a text message. Okay. Next, we're going to add the filter contains or has exact match. So you have two different options. Contains phrase, meaning maybe I told them to text me the word peptide and they texted the word peptides, or they texted the word, I want the peptide, right? If the word peptide's in there with contains phrase, it works. But with exact phrase, if I tell them to text me the word peptide and they text me, I want the peptide, it won't work because it's not an exact match. We want this to be an exact match because we're going to control it. We're going to give them a link that automatically puts it in. So we're going to put match exact phrase. And we're actually going to do peptide. I thought about this peptide quiz. Okay. So we're going to do peptide quiz. They're going to text us peptide quiz. That is what they're going to text. Okay. And we're going to click save trigger. So now we've narrowed it down. The customer replied through texting and their reply said peptide quiz. That's all it was. They just texted me the word peptide quiz. Okay. I'm going to click save. And I'm going to check it one more time just to see it. Yep, I love it. Save. And I'm going to save my workflow. Great. I'm using the tool Whisper Flow for my voice dictation. So now that we have a trigger, we have to have an action. So what do we want that action to be? We're going to send a message. We're just going to send them a simple message. I got a text, and then they're going to send me a message, right? So let's talk about what that message would be. What would you say? What do you want to say? So I'm going to say, let me see here. I've got one. I've just got to look it up here. There it is. So we're going to say, perfect. This is great. All right. We're going to say, so we're going to create a text message. So our action is going to be an SMS because we're going to send a message back, right? They sent us a message. Now we're going to send them a message. Okay. So I'm going to send a text message and we're going to reply. We're going to say, hi, thank you so much for your interest in our bioactive precision peptides. Please use the link below to tell us more about what your goals are and what you are looking to change or improve. We can help you choose the peptides that are best suited for you. Okay. So boom, just like that, we've created this text. And then we need to send a link, right? We got to send a link. Now, we could go in for days and talk about how to customize things and all of that. We're not going to do that. So I'm going to click save here because I don't want to lose this. But I'm going to go back into our form and I'm going to click integrate. See how it's nice to have tabs open? It makes things building a lot easier. Right here, this is our form link. So I'm going to copy the form link. Okay. Click done. I'm going to come back into our workflow. I'm going to click on the action, which is SMS, and I'm going to paste that form link right here. Now, I don't really like this form link. I probably would do a URL redirect, but that's another topic for another day. So we're going to click here and we're going to say talk soon because we know that text carriers don't like links to be at the end. If you didn't know that, now you do. So they're going to click here and they're going to fill out that form. We're also going to label this and say SMS, send the quiz. Okay. And then we're going to click save. And now we're going to save our workflow. Do you know that's the end of our trigger or the end of our workflow? That's it. That's all we had to do for this workflow. We just sent them the quiz, which is great. It's what we wanted to do. We have to create another workflow in a second, but we have to start with this. Now, there's a couple little tweaks that I want to make. Okay. Hopefully you're tracking with me. I know it's a lot, but we're trying to build a lot in an hour and we only have 17 more minutes. So there's a couple little tweaks that I want to make to this. First, how often do you get a text back that quickly? Very rarely, right? It's very rare. So we're actually going to put a delay in our response. We want it to feel kind of natural. So notice here, I did my text, which is great. I did it. I'm glad I did it because I wanted you to see how it was. But do you see there's a plus button right here? This plus button will allow me, I love this. It will allow me to add things when I forgot to add them. I didn't add a wait and I want it to be a wait. So I can add actions above or below other actions. So I'm going to click the plus button to add a new action and I'm going to do a wait. I want this to wait. Now you can scroll through and you'll see the internal items. You'll see wait is right here. You can also just search the word wait and you'll find it. So I'm going to click wait and I'm going to wait for, let's just say 30 seconds. Okay. And I'm doing this on purpose because I want you to learn to get creative. So I'm going to wait 30 seconds and they're going to get their message back. But this is only going to give me the time delay is the type of wait I'm going to use. I only get minutes, hours, and days. Okay. So let's just do 0.5. 0.5 minutes. That's 30 seconds. So I'm waiting half a minute. Okay. You also could turn on an advanced window and say, you know what? I don't care if they texted me. I'm not texting them this time of night because they'll know I'm not awake. You have that right too. I'm going to leave that off. And you can, and it'll only work during certain times, but I'm just going to do this. Click save action. Now it's going to wait 30 seconds, send them the quiz. Okay. And I'm going to add one more thing. I'm going to add another thing. I like to organize. So I'm going to use a tag. I'm going to add a contact tag to this person because I want to know that they are a lead. So we're going to say lead. Okay. And we're going to do peptide lead. Now notice peptide lead doesn't exist. No problem. It's right here. I'm going to add it. By the way, yes, this 100% works with Project Broadcast. You can send emails and text all the time right here, and it's going to use your Project Broadcast number. Okay. And I'm going to click add tag. I'm going to name this peptide lead. Okay. And I'm going to save the action. Click save. Now we have our entire workflow done. They text the word peptide. It waits 30 seconds. It sends them the quiz, and then it adds the lead. That's all. Now we could do more. I'm not going to. We could have it wait and see if they fill it out and all those things. We're not going to do that right now. We're just going to have it do this. I need to publish this now so that it actually works. But what do we do? What do we do after they have filled this quiz out? How do we, now I didn't say I was going to do this. This would actually be a bonus. This would actually be a bonus. So in the chat, would you like me to show you what we do after, or you want me to show you how to put in that fun little thing? You just have to tell me. So I'm going to let you guys vote in the chat. Do you want me to show you the fun little trick to create a link that automatically does the keyword right now? Or do you want me to show you the bonus? Because the real truth was I was just going to show you how to send out a keyword and build a really simple keyword for a form. But I don't mind building the entire form automation because we got done quicker than I thought, to be honest with you. We got done at 9:47. Let you guys decide. Okay. Jill says bonus. Sheila says fun tricks. Kimberly says both. I'll do both. I'll stay on and do both. No problem. All right. So we'll do the bonus. Let's do the workflow then. All right. I see it, guys. Good. Okay. So we're going to go back to workflows now. You see, here's our SMS keyword ready to go. Give it a second to load. There it is. And we're going to create a new workflow this time. And this is going to be our peptide quiz workflow when someone fills out the peptide quiz. Okay. Now, what's really cool is maybe they got the quiz through the keyword. Maybe they got the quiz because you sent it in social media and they filled it out. It doesn't matter. This workflow is going to work anytime someone fills out the peptide quiz. All right. So, and I haven't really worked through all this, so you're going to have to be patient with me, but here we go. All right. So we're going to jump in and we're going to click create workflow. We're going to create from scratch. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to label that workflow. We're going to call it our peptide quiz form. Okay. So now we know what happened, which is why they filled it out, right? Okay. Okay. We're going to save our workflow. Now we're going to click add new trigger. And we're going to, what is it going to be? It's an event. So we're going to scroll down, form submitted. We're going to add a form submitted. And again, we have to filter. If we just left it at form submitted, it would show us, this would trigger every time someone fills out a form. So we need to be really clear. So the form submitted for us is peptide quiz. That's the form we're going to use. Okay. Now we're going to add a filter and the filter is form is. Add that. We're going to select the form peptide quiz. There it is. Okay. So now this will work if someone fills out the peptide quiz. We're going to save the trigger. There it is. Form submitted peptide quiz. I'm going to save my workflow. I always recommend you save immediately after adding a trigger because sometimes there are functions that you're going to learn about inside the system that will not work unless you've saved the workflow. Okay. So they have filled this out. Awesome. Just so you know, the minute they fill this out, it's going to automatically update. So their contact is already updated, which is so great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add our actions. So what do we want to do first? We've got to determine what their goals are. So which products that would be. Now, I will tell you, because this is a bonus, my client hasn't given me all the products that they wanted to go to, But we do want to try and make a recommendation so that then the client can go through and finish this on their own, because I'm a skeleton guy. They put the meat on the bone. So we know that there's certain types of products they chose, right? So what we're going to do is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a tag. Why? Because they filled out the form. Now they're a warm peptide lead. So we're going to do warm peptide lead. That tag does not exist. We're going to add new. There it is. And we're going to click save the action. Oh, and we didn't label it. So we're going to label it. Why am I labeling everybody? Why am I doing all these things? Because I can now organize and I can send emails and text messages to people with these tags. Okay. And we're going to say warm peptide lead. Okay, great. Save the action. I also might add another tag. I know this sounds crazy. I might add another tag that they filled out this peptide quiz. I'm not going to do that to my client. They didn't ask for that, but I might have done that. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the plus button here, and I'm going to do what's called a logic. Now we're getting pretty advanced here, so please bear with me. We're getting advanced. We're going to use logic, and we're going to use an if else, because we are going to take them down a path based on the answers to their questions. Okay, does that make sense? Based on the answers to their questions, we're going to take them down a path. Okay, so we're going to do if else, and it's an internal action, and there it is, if else, and this uses logic. Now again, I know this is going to be kind of confusing for people, so bear with me. I can see people are dropping off. They're like, oh, okay, gone too far. So bear with me. We want to know what their goals were. Okay, primary goals. Okay, so their first goal. So we're gonna go through it. So here's how we find it. We have to choose the branch. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna create all these branches, and the person's gonna travel down those branches, one of those branches. So the first goal is, we're gonna go to contact details, and we're gonna search right here inside of here. We're just gonna search for the word goals, because we know. So there it is. What is your main health goal? Pick one. Boom, there it is. And interesting, that's a new change. Someone asked me earlier, it doesn't update the label. It actually did in this situation, which I need to reach out to the developers because it shouldn't do that. So what's your main health goal? There it is. And then we're going to say is, and we're going to say build more muscle, become more fit. Okay. So we're going to say fitness. We're just going to call this the fitness goal. Okay. Then we're going to add a new branch because we need a new direction, and we're going to do the same thing. And this is going to be weight loss only. Okay. Matter of fact, we're going to call this fitness only. Okay. And then we're going to say contact details. It's going to take us a few seconds here, and we're going to do goal, and we're going to do is lose weight. Then we're going to add a new branch, and this one's going to be weight loss and fitness. And we're going to do contact details. And we're going to do goals. There it is. And we're going to do is lose weight and gain fitness. Again, we just keep coming down, adding branches. And as you can see, you could add more filter items or more conditions, and you could really narrow this down. But we don't have the time for that. We're trying to build you guys something pretty quick here. So then we're going to do contact details and goals. And is reduce fatigue. So we're going to call this fatigue /calm. Okay. We're at a new branch here. I'm just going down the process. I am going through each of their options that they gave, and then we're just going to follow that. Okay. Lower, reduce stress. Now these might actually be the same. And so let me show you something, and I'll let the client tell me if that's what they want. So what if we did this? We could also do or contact details that. Right? So instead of having this branch, which has the same thing, I'm going to assume these two are very similar. They use a similar product. So I'm going to leave them together and it'll take them down. It'll reduce the number of branches we have and our suggestions we can make. And now we'll change this one to focus. So we're going to do focus. We're got a new branch. I think we're almost there. Okay. Yep. Hydrate my body better. Okay. So hydrate. So now we have their goals. Now watch this. And there's going to be one at the bottom that says none. That's okay. We're going to ignore it and it won't matter. So we're going to save the action and look here what we've got. We now have, I'll zoom out a little bit. We have a path for each response. Now I'm not going to go into all of the details. Okay. I'm not going to go into all the details right now. We're going to build one path, just one, and we're going to do it for the weight loss and fitness. Okay. But we could go down each path. We could even use their other questions that they asked, and we can use those to create even more paths to do. It can get really complicated. I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to use the one. So let me zoom in. Okay. So let's imagine that they did weight loss and fitness. All right. So what we're going to do now is if they come down this path, we're actually going to set a weight. And here's why. Nobody's going to be able to analyze all these questions this fast. Okay. No one is. So we're going to add a weight here. We're going to add a time delay. We're actually going to add a time delay of 30 minutes. Okay. I think that's important. We're going to have a time delay of 30 minutes. And the reason we're going to do that again is no one's going to go this fast. So we're going to wait 30 minutes. Step one. Okay. Step two, we're going to send them back a text message. Okay. Okay. And now we're going to type out our text message. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in an affiliate link here. That's what you would do, right? You'd recommend them they go to something. So give me 1 second here. I need to look up what I would say. Okay, here it is. So and again, maybe the person doesn't want to do this because maybe you really want to go, oh, we recommend this and this. You could totally, and again, we could create all the combinations. So based on what they said, oh, maybe this person is hitting, they're getting lulls in the middle of the day, but they're trying to lose weight. We might want to add the thing that helps them with energy and also with weight loss. So you can get really detailed here, but we're going to keep it really generic for this first build. So it could say something like this. I'm going to replace this with my name in a second, but you can say, hey, Jeremy, we recommend our complete fitness and weight loss package to support you in your goals. They will not only help you with your appetite and some of that food brain, but they'll also help you with your fitness and making sure that you're building strong muscle mass. I made that up. I took it from a little thing here. Now, obviously, this person's name is not Jeremy. So I'm going to change this and I'm going to insert a custom value by clicking the custom value tag. And I'm going to click contact first name. So now it's going to say, hey, first name. And then you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Okay. And boom, boom. Right. So you totally do that. Okay. And let me do this. Let's go. You can check it out here. And then I'm going to put in, let me really quick here. Let me go to my notes. Sorry, guys. I'm using two screens, so it's messing me up. All right, there we go. Go to my notes. And I'm going to use a URL redirect because it looks a little bit nicer. And I'm going to paste that in, put a reply, an ender here, and say this. I'm going to say, all of our customers also get access to our wellness community. If you make a purchase, please text us back for that access. Okay. And then I'm going to save, and boom, this is going to be our SMS, and it's going to be lean. I don't know what I said. Weight loss fitness recommendation. Okay. So click save. Click save. Okay. And just like that, we now have asked, we've taken the form, and I'm not going to go any further than this. Oh, I only put we because that was in the messaging I had. So I just put we. So again, I don't work for this company. I don't know the products. I'm just building it out. So this is how, and you would do this for each one of these if you just use the top. Now, again, we could get really complicated, and I'm not going to get really complicated, but we could get really complicated because maybe they would want to add the thing for drinking more water or getting better sleep, and maybe they need that. And so you need to figure out all those combinations, and it can get really complicated. But if you just took it off the very first question, what's your primary goal? We have enough here to do that, right? Now, I will be honest with you. I thought of one more thing we should do. So let's do it. At the top here, what I will say is we should add another weight. Okay, let's add another weight. Why would I add a weight? Well, they just filled out the form. So let's wait another 30 seconds. Let's wait. Yeah, let's wait 30 seconds. Again, so we're going to do our 0.5. Okay, and we're going to click save action. And I'm going to say, I like this. I'm going to say this one. So add a new action up here. This is the beauty, guys, when you forget stuff. Send SMS. And we're going to add in this. We're going to say something like this. We're going to say, thank you for the info, Jeremy. We will take a peek at your quiz answers and send you our recommendations. Chat soon. Okay. And then obviously I got to have this. And we're going to change this to contact first name. Okay. Save. So now, SMS, thank you. And save. So now they're going to fill out the form. It's going to wait 30 seconds. I did the typing using Whisper Flow. It's a great program, WISPR Flow. Now we're going to wait 30 seconds, and it's going to send them a message saying, thank you so much for checking this out. And then it's going to tag them with warm peptide lead. And then it's going to check which of their goals. If this was their goal, it would go down this path, and you have to build this for all the rest of them. But this gets my client started. I'm going to save it. It's published, and now it's ready to go. So that, look, you guys, we did it. We went a little over. We did both those in an hour. This was actually a bonus. So now you stayed on. How can we create links that we can put in our stories that can populate text? Now, you can actually do this inside of any of your pages. It's actually a lot easier to do inside of your pages that you build in Social Connector. So you can totally do this from websites that you build, and you won't have to go through this route. Okay. That's a different route that we'll show you in a different training. But if you want to do it through, so you can do it onto a story, there's a free site for that. Yep. It's a free site. It's that simple. Watch. So I'm going to go to this site right here, T2LL admin. So this is it, T2LL.com. Okay. Is what you're looking for. T2LL.com. Matter of fact, I'll just do this whole thing for you. And I'll put it right in the comments for you guys so you can find it. Matter of fact, just because people are going to watch the recording, I'll put it in the banners here, just so everyone can find it. And I'll leave it up the entire time that I'm doing this once it saves. Okay. So here's what you do to do a text generator. Okay. Let me put this up real quick. Okay. So you go to www.t2ll.com, authorize SMS text. You put in your phone number. Now I'm not going to put my client's phone number in, so I'm going to put in my phone number for Social Connector. Okay. You put in your phone number. Then you put the message. What was our message? Peptide quiz. Just like that. Okay. And just like this, you'll see it has created. Let's see if I can zoom in on it here. There you go. It has created this link right here. It's created this link right here. And I don't know if this will work for me right now, I'll try it. I'm going to copy this to the clipboard. Okay. I'm going to open up a new window and I'm going to paste it. It may not work because I'm not using a phone. I'm on my computer. Let's see here. Yeah. So it does not subvert sending text because it won't open it up on my computer. But if I were on my phone right now and I type that in, I'm so tempted to do this. You guys have the time? Do you want me to show you what it would look like? I can totally get my phone to show up on here. Oh, did I lose you guys? Hope I didn't lose you. Are you still here? Okay, cool. Good. Okay, because it wouldn't let me post those links. So that's why I was like, oh, it's not letting me post the links. Are you guys still here? Did you guys see all this that I did? Okay, great. Let me see if I can get that banner. The banner's working, so you have it there. Great. All right, so we have the time. Everybody's saying yes, go for it. So I will do it. Okay, so let me stop my screen share for just a second. Okay, and let me open this up. There we go. Let me, cool. All right, so let me go to Safari here. Sorry, guys, give me 1 second because I got to get it ready. I wasn't planning on doing this. Okay, there we go. All right, see if I can pull this off, guys. This will be fun. We're going to share screens here. And we're going to share a window and share that. And there we go. So let's make it a little easier for you guys to see. I think this will make it easier. There we go. So everybody can see my screen now? Hopefully you can. Great. Give me 1 second here. And let's copy to the clipboard. And let's paste it right here. I think that'll let me do it. There we go. So I'm going to paste in that link. Open. It'll ask me, do you want to open Messenger? Say yes, open messages. Peptide quiz. I'm going to send this now. Okay. Now, again, this is going to Social Connector's phone number. Okay. Because I put in my number. But as you can see, it automatically put the info in. Okay. And so I'm doing this because I'm not trying to get you guys to read stuff. So it automatically put the info in at the bottom. If I hit send, it would send me that information. That's how simple that is. How cool is that? How cool is that? You put that very link into your Instagram links when you're doing a story, and when they click it, it'll pop open and it'll work for you. So you just got to go to this page right here and it will totally work for you. Okay. So that's how easy it is. Again, you can build this from your own pages too. So that's fine too, but this is just a fast way to do it. All right. And yeah. So there you have it. Today we literally built out a new form. We built a funnel. Excuse me. We built a form. We built a workflow for people to text that keyword to. Then we built a workflow for when people fill out that form to respond to them. And awesomeness. So if you have any questions, obviously jump into our office hours next Monday. Until then, I will see. Yes, once they send it, it won't work right now because I'm not texting. So that's a great question. So when I hit that send button, Jill, what would happen is it would trigger that workflow, which would then send the quiz. And then they would click the link and get the quiz. Yeah. So that's how that works, Jill. If they text me that keyword, okay, then I send them the quiz. They click the link, they fill out the quiz, and then from there, we go through the rest of the process. Okay, it's a way for people to do it rather than feeling like they're filling out a form. They're actually texting you, and once they text you, they're a little bit more committed to you. That's why we do it. People don't like to fill out forms all the time. They like to text. So again, I know this is a long word. Yeah, so you can use that link instead of sending out a text, tell them to text a word because they don't need to. They just got to click and click send, click and click, and it works because it's already been filled in for them. Okay. Any other questions, guys? I'm with you. We did it though. I just want everyone to know we did it. We built a whole thing in an hour. Just throwing that out there. Okay. It should automatically populate the phone number because they're texting your social connector. So they're automatically in there and then you're sending them back the link. Okay. So it already has their phone number and it's a sticky form. So it'll automatically populate that. So Jill, again, what we're doing, you can do it with just a form if you want. This is just a way for you to use a keyword because some people don't like going to a form inherently. You put a form on your link in bio or whatever. Some people want the conversation. So this is just another way. And remember, the difference is if they click a link and go to a form, you have none of their information. If they click a link and send the keyword, you at least have their phone number. So what you could actually do, this is what I was going to tell you, you could actually follow up with those people that don't fill out the form. So you've now captured, we own at least something. We own their phone number. We may not know their name. We may not know their email. We may not know what their health goals are, but we know their name. Does that make sense, Jill? Because once they send you that keyword, they are in your system. Whether you have their name or not, they are in your system. And so now you can continue to follow up and go, hey, so maybe they click it and they don't have that tag. You could actually add a part in your workflow. I'm not going to do this, but you could add a part in that workflow that allows you to wait to see if they get the tag that says they're a warm lead. If they don't get that tag, you could follow up with a text message back to them going, hey, did you get a chance to fill out that quiz? Hey, I didn't see your quiz come through. See, you can keep the conversation going. If you send them a link to a form, maybe they filled it out, maybe not. So the T2LL link is just a way for people to click and auto-populate the text messaging for the keyword. It puts your phone number right away in their phone, and it gives the keyword for them to send so that they come into your system. Rather than saying, text the word such and such to 818-455-7257, right? It makes it easier. Yes. So if they're not in Social Connector and they go to that form, they'll have to fill it out because you don't know their number. Yeah. So the link auto populates a text message for them, making life easy. People want easy. So a link auto populates the text message for them with the keyword. And they don't have to, like, if you said text this in your story on Instagram, text this. Now I've got to leave. I've got to remember what the phone number was, or I could just click this link. It'll automatically open up my phone text messaging and I'll be ready to send. And then I can click send and move on back into my stories and do what I was doing. So that's why that works pretty well. Any other questions, guys? This is just one way to capture. Just one way to capture. We need different ways to capture people's information so that we can do what? Nurture them to become customers, so that we can onboard them well, so that we can convert them into raving fans, right? And so with that, I'm gonna let you guys go. Have an amazing rest of your day.